Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Recap. Now, we've got Matt James and Rachael Kirkconnell. Now, look, as we know, they've been spotted together pretty much the last 3 weekends. In Georgia, they weren't spotted in Georgia. We know they were together there, but they were spotted together in Southern California, eating them fish tacos. And now, of course, we've got them all over the place here in New York City. TMZ had reported Bachelor Matt James still holding on tight to Rachael. Reunited, feels so good in New York City. Now, I'm going to share with you guys the Wall Street Journal interview with Matt James. This is the first official expose, sort of proper interview that he's done since getting back together with Rachael Kirkconnell. So we'll see what he has to say about that. But as TMZ has reports, Matt told people last week he was focusing on his relationship with Rachael, trying to make it work, and these shots show just how much energy he's pouring into it. An eyewitness tells us the couple was holding hands at one point. Ooh, holding hands. Can you believe it? Wow, we're really going places in life. Now, the thing is, when it comes to analyzing this relationship, is that everyone sees how they acted on After the Final Rose. And how could she take him back the way he didn't stand up for her? And then the other said, how could he be with her the way she... It's just like, listen, folks, it's complicated. They love each other. You know what I mean? So let's jump right into that. And as you guys know, last week... or actually just yesterday, boy, the news cycle's so fast here, I can't even stay up to date. Yesterday, I made this video, Rachael Kirkconnell's purse spotted in Matt James' place, as you can see right here. The same purse, that was her in Georgia on the left, and then on the right in New York City. So clearly, they're back together. They have it going on today. Further proof, Manny Petty Place posts this photo, which is, couples that get petties together, stay together. And there they are. They're doing the Claire and Dale routine, as some commenters have said. They're getting back into that foot game. Now, look, I'm not a foot guy, but sometimes, you don't choose the foot life. The foot life chooses you. Stomp on that. Hashtag Dave's Got Toes. So here we have some toe analysis. We can't see Matt's for good reason. He's got some bunions he's taking care of. But with Rachael, she's got the traditional Egyptian cut toe, which is, kind of straight down the pipe, just like everyone's fastball. Pretty common foot type, Egyptian toe, distinguished by a long, big toe, followed by the other toes tapering at a 45-degree angle. Just your typical Georgian Egyptian toe right there. Nothing big to see. Now, with Matt, that's what's interesting here, because he posted this Instagram today. We know he's got some sort of... bunion issue happening here, which you can't judge the man. He played wide receiver. He's an athlete. A lot of pressure and energy put onto those feet here. But as he's walking down the line, it's kind of hard to even figure out what kind of toe he's got. Is it pertinent to the rest of the discussion? Probably not, but you guys are stuck with me. Now, very interesting here, because it almost looks like these are the same size. I was going to go with Greek toe, to be honest, but Roman, it's almost like a hybrid between Roman and Greek. The particular toe shape characterized by the first 3 toes being the same height. Does he have the first 3 toes? No, see, we've almost got like an Egyptian. It makes you wonder if the big toe didn't have the bunion, maybe it would just be a flat Egyptian. Really hard to say, folks. I wish I could get a better answer for you guys. But just know that the Egyptian toe loves the extra pampering. They have an eye for aesthetics and are generally very friendly people, being the best fit to deal with difficult personalities. I mean, it's in Cosmo. It must be real. So anyway, folks, let's just continue on here. We're not really sure what type of toe he's got. Does it matter? Who cares? So the article, now listen, Wall Street Journal is a pay-to-play site, and I was going to sign up for it, and I was like, I'll sign up. I'll pay the $4 monthly fee to bring you guys the news, and then it says, you got to buy a year up front. And I just can't commit to that, folks. I can't commit to $40 right now. It's just not in the budget to read this stupid article. But I just got tagged in this Instagram, bachelor.nation, so I guess I'm ripping it off, so I don't know if this video will stay active. I guess I'm ripping it off, but that, listen, if your business model, it can be, stunted by some, janky YouTuber analyzing toes, and that's on you. So anyway, folks, here it is. Let's just flip through the article. For Bachelor Matt James, the power of a second chance. This is in the magazine culture section. He's there in his nice svelte, looks like a pajama suit. Is that a pajama suit? Not really sure what's going on there. But he's strong and he looks good, so we'll let him wear it. During an interview in late April, James, 29, was sitting on a couch on the terrace that wraps around Soho House, West Hollywood, looking over downtown Los Angeles. He was dressed more casually than the fitted suits and autumnal knitwear he wore on the show, wearing a Stanford long-sleeve t-shirt, a beanie, and his now trademark post-bachelor beard. I have spoken to therapists. I wouldn't say I have a specific therapist. As you talk about things, that's when the healing can start. Despite their very public breakup, James and Kirkconnell are now trying to make their relationship work. He doesn't want to speak for Kirkconnell, however, about what she's. He doesn't want to speak for Kirkconnell, however, about what she's going. Sorry, here, hold on, folks. Some formatting issues. Oh boy, just give me a brief second. About what she's doing to be a more sensitive partner. I think the best way to put it is that we can have critical conversations about being in this relationship and what I need in a partner, especially if that woman isn't black, to understand what comes with me in my life in being black. So that's nothing new. That's kind of what he said to Emmanuel Acho on the After the Final Rose episode, educating yourself what it's like to be, in that sort of relationship. It's on people who care about being allies to do the work to be truly anti-racist, James said. And I think it's unfair to leave people without the ability to unlearn and be better. That's a fancy way of saying he's against cancel culture. That's what it is. Give people a chance to unlearn things to be better. You would think that also means Chris Harrison, but right now we're focused on Rachael Kirkconnell. He believes give people the space to unlearn things and be better. In an email to Wall Street Journal, Kirkconnell confirmed they're back together, saying it's been helpful to have privacy as the couple moves forward off camera. Unlike most Bachelor and Bachelorette leads, James had not only never appeared on the show as a previous contestant, he'd never been on reality television at all. Before the show started filming, he worked as a commercial real estate associate in Manhattan. And unlike the typical post-Bachelor trajectory, which for many previous contestants is a life of tequila endorsements, shirtless Instagram selfies, and appearances on other Bachelor franchise shows, which by the way sounds fantastic to me, James has turned to a slew of business projects, from NFTs and cryptocurrency to sustainable agriculture. He's a minority owner in the hydroponics company Let Us Grow, which sells hydroponic farm stands, self-watering towers that customers use to grow produce at home. By the way, my fiance and I are thinking about buying one of them before I knew he was a minority owner here, and they do look fantastic. He also runs ABC Food Tours, a charity for underserved kids James founded with Tyler Cameron, his close friend from their football days at Wake Forest, and himself an alum of The Bachelorette. ABC stands for Alphabet City. There's no association with the network. ABC Food Tours, Alphabet City. Alphabet City, of course, is just east of the East Village in New York City, a beautiful, if not up-and-coming part of town. It used to be where you'd go to get all your drugs back in the day, but they've cleaned it up. So I've been told. He wants to use NFTs to teach financial literacy to kids, he says, and that while people of color have historically missed out on new economic frontiers, I don't want that to be the case with crypto. Going into The Bachelor, James wanted potential partners to understand the parts of his life that weren't picture perfect. He grew up in Raleigh, North Carolina, where he and his older brother John, a musician, were raised by his mom, Patty. His dad, Manny, mostly wasn't in the picture. Manny and John both spent time in jail. The family confirms James was, as far as he's aware, the first man in his family to attend college, and says he's only recently become aware of how shaped he was by people outside his immediate family. Friends, families who took him on vacation or to nice restaurants, or the high school coaches who pushed him to continue his education when he wasn't planning to. Telling friends, let alone women he was dating, about his dad and brother used to be out of the question, he says. He was ashamed. I felt like I had to present myself in the best light. I didn't want to bring mistakes made by people I loved, but I didn't have control over, into a relationship with someone. But opening up had become imperative over time, especially when it came to finding a relationship on The Bachelor. What was most important to me was that people on the show understood where I came from and who I was, so that they could make an informed decision for themselves if they wanted to be with someone like me who had this quote-unquote baggage, because that's what I saw it as initially. It wasn't until I became more comfortable with who I was as a man, as a black man, as a brother and a son, that it just became more of my story. Conversations he had with the women around this part of his life didn't end up making it into any of the season's episodes in a significant way. James is diplomatic. However, when it comes to the show's editing, ultimately The Bachelor's about more than myself. It's about all the women who were there and their journeys. There's a lot of things that didn't make air that you've just got to hope that they knew a lot better than I do, because they've been doing this, some of them, longer than I've been alive. Despite how it appeared, James also says he did not have sex with any of the women during the show's famous fantasy suite nights. He says he used the time to talk with finalists Kirkconnell, Michelle Young, and Bree Springs. I can't speak for anybody but myself, but I think the women appreciated it because I did learn things about them that I hadn't gathered, that I don't think I would have learned if I hadn't used that time to really dive deeper into something that they might not have been comfortable talking about on camera. Sorry, I think I read that in a confusing way. It's on people who care about being allies to do the work to be truly anti-racist, and I think it's unfair to leave people without the ability to learn and do better. For his part, friend and co-founder Tyler Cameron says he stopped watching James' season after the first 3 episodes. I wanted to see more Matt, says Cameron, 28, James Cameron, Titanic, who was the runner-up on Hannah Brown's season of The Bachelorette, and whose late mother originally nominated James for the franchise. That's why I didn't watch as much as I wanted to. The Bachelor should be about the lead. I want people to see Matt's story, and then Matt's fun side, goofy side, the side that we all love. I think the best part of Matt was what we saw in the bloopers, the few second snippets that run during each episode's credits. The way James replied to the women on the show, who were often confessing their feelings for him or telling him about their most painful life experiences, was sometimes mocked on social media for being repetitive. I like that. I feel that. The last thing runner-up Young said to him was, I hope you come up with more phrases than just thanks for sharing. Well, thank you for your feedback. In person, James is more easygoing and funny than he ever seemed on the show. He gets animated when he's talking about something that excites him, like his favorite musical artist, J. Cole, or the first time he visited New York City. He says he didn't sleep for 72 hours because it was so stimulating. At one point during an interview, he used 2 glasses of water to demonstrate how NFTs work. Despite questions around, by the way, an NFT is like a JPEG it's like a JPEG, a photo that you can trade, like a digital currency. Oh boy, Google it. Despite questions around the show's future and its format, James says he sees the franchise lasting long after I'm gone, but he believes it's important for The Bachelor's behind-the-camera storytellers, the editing crew, and producers who shape the arcs and help draw out contestants, infamously satirized in the scripted series Unreal, to be just as diverse as the contestants are. The franchise will not end after The Bachelorette, and announcements about future seasons are forthcoming, says a person familiar with the matter. Of course it's not going to end. If you have different people of color all across the board, it's going to help you tell a story that's more representative. If someone has never been with someone who doesn't look like them, they're going to have a hard time. In response to this, in a number of inquiries from Wall Street Journal, ABC provided part of a previously released joint statement with Warner Brothers as we continue the dialogue around achieving greater equity and inclusion within the Bachelor franchise. We're dedicated to improving the BIPOC representation of our crew, including among the executive producer ranks. After The Bachelor wrapped, James spent a lot of time with Cameron and other friends. He prayed and realigned himself with God. Whenever my relationship with him gets off course, then I feel like everything in my life gets off course. He started training to run a marathon. He sought support from his men's Bible study group and a group of friends he met on Martha's Vineyard in Oak Bluffs, one of the first places in the country where black people owned their own land. He's continued to educate himself on the United States history of racism, citing Ta-Nehisi, I'm going to mess that up. Citing Ta-Nehisi Coates' book, We Were 8 Years in Power, which he's read and reread in the months since the show wrapped. I'm sure somebody or 15 people will correct my pronunciation. I do apologize on that. He also counts his family as part of his support system, saying their relationships were strengthened by the show. His mom appeared on a few of the episodes, including the season finale in which she and his brother John met Kirkconnell and Young. Patty James cried happy tears during both of the meetings. Happy tears. Happy mistakes. James' father was also brought on, that's what my dad calls me. James' father was also brought on more controversially in a painful conversation where he and Matt tried to reconcile. The conversation I had with my mom, my brother, and my dad weren't in vain, James said. After the show, I reached out to my pops, and we talk on a regular basis now. He's taken steps to make amends with the rest of the family and be a better dad to his kids. Boy, that might be the best part of this so far, that he's having a more regular relationship with his father. You know what? The whole show might be worth it just for that one line. His brother and father, too, have repaired, because what you realize is that no amount of past trauma or history should get in the way of a good relationship with your parents, and it's never too late. So call your mom, happy Mother's Day coming up, and call your dad if you still have any conversations with them, and make whatever amends you can. His brother and father, too, have repaired their relationship following James' on-screen reconciliation with Manny, who now works for a shipping company. In a phone call, John confirmed the repair, saying that he and his father hadn't spoken for about 3 years prior to the show. Manny says the show was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, putting the family back together. I know there was a lot of controversy, says James, but there were a lot of things to celebrate. Well, good for them. Good for them. Good for Manny talking to the family again. You know, sometimes I feel like you stop a relationship and it becomes harder and harder to pick the phone up the longer time goes. I know this with good friends that I have that I've lost connection with, and sometimes you just got to pick that up, shoot a text message or a friendly phone call or whatever you can do, whatever you can muster up to do and repair that relationship. Because in more cases than not, you can recover from whatever past damage was done. You know, which we've all got issues. We've all got issues with our parents. And we think we're going to be different, and we're probably going to pass some of those down to our kids, and that's just the cycle of life. And we're here on this earth in this like sort of spiritual sense to sort of learn. You know, they say Earth is a challenging level in this video game, and we're here to learn something. So, you know, you keep repeating the same mistakes until you finally fix them and avoid them. Oh, that's what it means to be enlightened. Enlighten yourself by hitting the like button and subscribe for future content. If you haven't already, I would appreciate everyone and all of your support. So that's what we got there, folks. That's the article. So some salacious stuff we learned was that he didn't have sex with anyone on the fantasy suites, and some non-salacious stuff we learned is that he's repaired his relationship with his father. And it looks like him and Rachael Kirkconnell are trying to work on their relationship. It looks like a lot of the dust has settled on all the sort of issues regarding their statements, who they want to be, their past, and how they're going to move forward together. I, for the most part, am a fan of love making its way. I'm a fan of repairing relationships and communicating to the fullest, which sometimes means understanding that it's never perfect. It can be ugly, but if you take your ego out of things, if you understand that you have the keys to your emotional response and you can control that, and you can understand everyone's trying the best with the information they have, well then maybe, just maybe, you can let somebody into love. Some people said, well, it's their first love for both of them, so maybe they're just traumatized together in all of this. Maybe. But as far as couple hurdles go, to get over this hurdle they've gotten over, there's going to be a lot of other issues that are going to seem like a walk in a park. So I'm happy for them. I'm really happy he's repaired his relationship with his father, and let this be maybe a shared lesson to all of us to repair whatever relationships in our life we can do. I've got a lot of other content coming out. If you haven't checked out my other videos, it's a little bit of a slow week here on the YouTube channel. Some of these videos, you don't always get notifications of all the ones that I got out there, but make sure to go subscribe, hit the alert button wherever the heck it is. There's an alert button somewhere, and stay in touch for all the other content. I got to go edit my vlog. I'm dropping it tomorrow. It's my birthday vlog. I'll share with you the jumbo syringe vaccine cake that I made. It's a gluten-free vegan cake. It's actually really good. I got leftovers. Come on by. I'm in Los Angeles, and I'll share with you all of that on the vlog, which drops tomorrow. And of course, finally, in the comment section, you can click the link, and that will you put your email in, and you can join my email list, stay in touch for future stand-up shows and other information that I got going on. Well, thank you guys so much for sticking around, and I appreciate all of you, and I'll see you later.